my viewers, my subscribers. Well, in another video here, why me I tell you, so this a man here admit say, oh, he man want to kill black people, you know. Yeah, man, the man say, he man start with Africa First Disease, because the people have not the right, you know. All of them right has been taken away from them and all of these things, you know. So, you man, I make we know say, he man get rid of it, so. Just check it out still and let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Alright, I'm out. Peace.
Black people, this is just for you, because this guy's admitting to the fact that governments are trying to exterminate you.
Where does any synthetic molecule serve the living?
They don't.
Right.
I mean, none.
And am I right in suggesting that a medicine, by definition, is something which contains synthetic molecules, something that is registered, patented, and put into the market as a medicine?
Absolutely.
Proper. Right. So what I'm learning from you, Dr. Young, is that a quadrillion-dollar enterprise is at work amongst us, decimating, culling the human family.
Intentionally.
Intentionally, using synthetic molecules, which by design are cancer, AIDS, all of the bogeymen we could dream up.
Yeah, it's for the purpose of sterilization and population control. There's too many people on the planet we need to get rid of. In the words of Bill Gates, at least 3 billion people need to die. So we'll just start off in Africa. We'll start doing our research there, and we'll eliminate most of the Africans because they're deplorable. They're worthless. They're not part of this world economy. So they have their rights taken away, and they're suppressed, and they're experimented.
And the multilateral agencies and the health and regulatory so-called authorities and agencies appear in the main to have become weaponized, and appear, I again use the word appear advisedly. We're not casting judgments here. We're taking depositions, listening to expert testimonies, appear to be weaponized and appear to be working in collusion against the living men and women of the soil. Is that a fair statement?
It is. It's not a bacterial war. It's a systemic poisoning war. And they're using chemical warfare against all of us.
The future of humanity depends on how Russia will resist to the Western Empire. You like it or not. According to some spiritual sources, there has been a secret war against the souls of Central Europe and Russia since many centuries. It is where the migration of souls must go in 1500 years, in order for humanity to keep the connection with the spiritual world. It happened already with Atlantis, when the souls were guided by great initiates, before the collapse. For centuries, certain occult groups linked to the Anglo-Americanism have tried to destroy Central Europe and Russia. There have been many wars in Europe to reduce Russia's influence. The fall of the Romanov imperial family was caused by their naivety and the betrayal of the corrupted nobility. Do you know, it was actually the Germans that sent Lenin as a dangerous virus in a leaded wagon to destroy the Russian soul. Lenin's goal was to reduce and eliminate the seeds of a new humanity coming from the center of Europe. Observe how communism tried to destroy Russian roots, with the hyper-materialism and atheism. It brought the domination of dark entities, above the Russian spiritual forces. While the physical battle affected millions of people, there was also a celestial battle taking place. Souls connected to Ahriman were fighting against the souls of the children of Russia, who were linked to the leadership of a great cosmic being. The repeated attempts to harm Russia through a dark Sovietism were not meant to share post-war territories and influence. It was rather to assure occult forces, to prevent the awakening of Central of Europe, under Christ's banner. It stopped with the fall of USSR. The direction taken wasn't expected from the Western countries. Instead of wished chaos and tremendous self-destruction, a spiritual presence united the souls to an invisible goal. Some call it as Archangel Michael influence. If Russia were to fall, it would be the end of humanity as we know it, and the start of an era ruled by machines only. Russia and Central Europe have the ability to provide for all of humanity's future needs, food, energy, culture, and spirit, and offer an alternative to the Anglo-American imperialism. The fate of humanity is actually at risk right now. If you are afraid or hate Russia, it's probably because the poison of demonic forces has affected your ability to think freely. No matter what happens, we have the power to shape the future. We will all face the consequences of our actions. Those who complain about the hard times must understand that they are facing the consequences of their past lives' actions. They have the power to change the course of human destiny, to be more benevolent and open to the work of the Spirit. Get ready for this and work towards it. Even though it will happen in 1500 years, you will return to harvest what you have sown in this life. Russia is not our enemy, but the guarantor of a spiritual alternative in future humanity.
5 black police officers, big guys I might add, took a 150-pound, 29-year-old young black man who did nothing wrong, was at a red light. You run up to his car, you curse at him, throw expletives in his direction, you drag him out of the car. You're incredibly excessive to the point where at that moment he's running for his life. People didn't pick up, or I believe people haven't picked up on the fact that obviously he was driving a car. So because you're driving that car, that's how you knew where to go look for him, because when he ran, where was he going? Well, you had an address, because one of the first things a police officer does is they get your plates and they have an address attached to it. So where do you catch him? 3 homes away from his own house, which is why this young man, 29 years old, working for FedEx, ends up screaming for his mother. Now, I watched all 66 minutes of this tape.
Me too, it's crazy.
2 officers had him on the ground. Another officer came up and kicked him in the face twice. Not only that, another officer came and punched him in the face 3 times. Not only that, another officer came, all while he was being held, and hit him at least twice with a baton. And we only know that because of the surveillance camera across the street that caught him overhead. The body cam that they were wearing, ladies and gentlemen, go back and watch. We couldn't see anything from the body cam because while they were holding him and restraining him, they were blocking the visual of the body cam and screaming, "Put your hands up, put your hand behind your back." They had already had him restrained. They were conjuring up a story while they were torturing this man. They beat him to death.
Mr. President, when you took your oath of office, I sent a message online, and millions of Americans saw it. In that message, I asked this question: how can you place your left hand on the Bible, the Word of God, and with your right hand sign laws into existence that war against the Word of God? I said, you plan to enact laws that will disregard the distinction between male and female, doing that which our first president warned against, that if we ever disregard the eternal rules of God, his blessings will be removed from the land. And now you've done it. In December 2022, you stood on the White House lawn and officiated over a ceremony in which you signed an act that altered American federal law. When George Orwell wrote his book 1984, he spoke of a government that used words to obscure and obliterate reality, the ministry of truth to obscure lies, the ministry of love to obscure oppression. What you did, Mr. President, on the White House lawn when you signed that act was that very thing. the Respect for Marriage Act, a law that was the very opposite of its name, the disrespecting and obliteration of what marriage has always been since the beginning of human history. You did something that no president had.
Russian state television have issued a brazen warning that Moscow could wipe out Britain with a nuclear tsunami in retaliation for supporting Ukraine, declaring there would be no survivors.
In Britain, they seem to be rambling. Why do they threaten vast Russia with nuclear weapons while they are only a small island? Why do they play games? Another option is to plunge Britain into the depths of the sea using Russian underwater robotic drone Poseidon. The explosion of this torpedo close to Britain's shores will raise a giant wave, a tsunami up to 500 meters. This tidal wave is also a carrier of extremely high doses of radiation. Surging over Britain, it will turn what is left of them into radioactive deserts.
There are some new concerns out of Russia this morning as well. A nuclear-capable Russian submarine said to carry a one-of-its-kind nuclear device has left its base near the Arctic Circle.
An Italian newspaper says it got its hands on a NATO warning about the Belgorod. That's the submarine. Russia is most likely testing a torpedo that uses nuclear power.
I called the German embassy in London today, prompted by the statements of the German Foreign Minister, Annalena Baerbock, saying that, what does she say? We are fighting a war against Russia. So I asked the person who picked up, is this official German government policy or is it just a minister mouthing off? He said, I don't know, I'm just a receptionist. He said to fill out a contact form, so this is my contact form to the German Embassy in London, dated January the 30th, 2023. I am a British journalist seeking clarification on the following. 1. Is it true that Germany is ordering people to be injected with COVID products against their will, and incarcerating in psychiatric facilities those who refuse? 2. I recently saw a video clip of German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock saying, we are fighting a war against Russia. Is this official German government policy? 3. The minister also said she intends to conduct foreign policy no matter what my German voter think. Again, is this official German government policy? 4. Does the German government regard the minister's aforementioned statements as consistent with her prior declaration of a values-guided foreign policy? I wish to have a conversation about this with the responsible person at the German embassy. Let me know whom I may contact and their phone number. When I called the embassy, the receptionist told me I will receive answers within 3 working days. I look.
There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way.
You're a Negro.
No.
I am.
No.
Suppose I threatened to beat you, what would you say? Aren't you a Negro now?
No.
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Suppose I had some money in my pocket. Suppose I gave you $1 to say that you are an American Negro. This is money now. Money talks. Money talks. This $1, and if you don't say it, you don't get it. You're an American Negro, aren't you?
No.
You won't have any money. You know you need money, don't you?
Yeah.
You need money to live, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. All you have to say, Leon, is that you're an American Negro. Aren't you an American Negro? Are you an American Negro?
No,
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What's your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Very good, man.